बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। स्टार्ट करें क्लास। ओके सो एक चीज़ तो ये है शुरू में स्टार्ट में कि अपना माइक काइंडली ऑन ना कीजिएगा, क्योंकि फिर डिस्टर्बेंस होगी लेक्चर में। अगर आपने कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना हो तो बेशक अपना माइक अनम्यूट कर लें और पूछ लीजिएगा, लेकिन कोशिश करें कि माइक अनम्यूट ना हो, वरना जो है वो लेक्चर डिस्टर्बेंस होगी। ओके सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। दिस इज the course of mechanical vibrations, as you know. um, for this course we are actually sharing the course. For section A and B I am teaching, and for section C and D Mr. Mar Akram is teaching. So let's start with the introduction of this course. So if you're not hearing my voice, just give me a uh, text reply so that I can check my settings. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen now for the lecture. Yes, this is the class of section B group 1. As I have uploaded the document on the classroom. So if anyone want to join, he can join, but this is a scheduled class of section B group 1. Okay. Okay, I'm sharing the lecture now. Okay, everyone is seeing the screen? Okay, so let's start with the kindly turn off the mic. Okay, let's start with the lecture, first lecture of the subject mechanical vibrations.
सर प्लीज बी लाउड, आपकी आवाज काफी कम आ रही।
Okay, 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 okay. Okay, so this is the first lecture of the subject mechanical vibrations. As I told you earlier, this course is shared by myself and Muhammad Amar Akram. So I am teaching to the section A and B, and Mr. Markham is teaching to section C and D. As far as this course is concerned, this is, I think, so the first kind of a course that you have been taking in the mechanical engineering, and probably the last course. This is the only subject that is related to the vibrations, that is the mechanical vibrations. Although in many different foreign universities, they actually teach the advanced courses in the last semester as well, but for in Pakistan, we only teach one course of vibration, that is mechanical vibration, in the BS mechanical engineering. Okay, so for this course, my focus will be on the theoretical part, which is mostly based on the mathematical understanding of this course. The vibration course is mostly built on the mathematics. So you have learning a lot of mathematics in the vibrations, but the mathematics is not of the theoretical nature, it is of the practical nature. So whenever you are deriving some equations or modeling some system, you actually understand the dynamics or the how system will vibrate, how system will behave. with different conditions, uh, based on how in different environment it has been placed. So in when you are doing the mathematical modeling or the doing the mathematics of the different vibration systems, what you are actually interpreting is the real practical essence of the system and how it will behave in the real world. Also, for the last part of this course, I've included the industrial application of vibrations, which includes the last lecture of this course. So, not only we are covering the theoretical aspect, but also how this field is applied in the industry. So, I will quickly introduce myself regarding this subject. Also, you already know because I've taught you about 10 or 12 lectures in the last semester. So, okay, so this is my brief introduction. I have recently completed my PhD in January 2020, and that is in the field of vibrations. So that's why I am teaching this course, and I have worked on the one of the most practical problem that process industry or power industries is facing. That is the problem of the flow induced vibrations. So my all research from masters till my PhD is focused on understanding vibrations. So that's why I have worked with industries as well. So that's why what I want really for this course is try to create a mix of some theoretical as well as some practical understanding from the industry. So I have actually, as far as my academic record is concerned, I have published about 10 papers on vibrations. So if you want to see my research, the Google Scholar Google link is available. You can see the research published. I am also working on 3 or 4 papers right now that's also related to vibrations. Um, this is my what I have done for last 9 or 10 years. For last about 9-10 years, I've involved in the vibration research, not only in the laboratory but also in the industry as well. Um, Okay, so apart from my academic record of understanding vibrations, I've also done some industrial projects, and these are some list of the projects that are related to the industrial problems. The first that I've done in about 2011 is a pipe designed for leak prevention in low crude oil pipelines. This is sponsored by Pakistan Petroleum Limited, and this is the problem of vibrations. Whatever where the crude oil pumped through the long pipes, what happens is that the oil start leaking, the joints start leaking due to vibrations. So we have actually redesigned the joint so that there will be less vibration and no leakage. Similarly, I have done some fault diagnosis of rotary machinery with the best way as well as HMC, and I also supervised 3 or 4 projects related to the fault diagnosis of rotary machinery. Similarly, recently I am doing one of the project that is related to the torsional vibration analysis of tank engine, and that is from this sponsored by HIT. Uh, so these are some projects that I've done related to the field of vibrations. Apart from these projects, sorry, just wait. Sorry, I have skipped. Okay. Okay, I have also done 2 or 3 trainings with the industry as well. In the first lecture, I will introduce some of the techniques that will have been introduced in industry for last about 2-3 decades that uses vibration analysis to find the faults in different rotary machinery. And that's why my intention will be that not only you are getting some theoretical understanding regarding this course, but also some practical understanding and how this field is applied to the industry. If you go to any process industry like cement plant or fertilizer or maybe factories like HMC or steel mill, you will find if you just inquire there, that how you'll find the if there's any fault in the machinery, how you will find the fault, a particular fault. They will tell you we will use the vibration analysis. So vibration analysis is one of the most importantly or one of the most widely used technique of fault diagnosis in rotary machinery. And as you know, that in process industry, the rotary machinery is a prime component, like motors, you have compressors, you have pumps, you have shafts, you have engines. So all these systems have the rotation, and they are considered as rotary machinery. And what vibration analysis do is without opening the or without disassembling the machine, you can find the fault by understanding the vibration signature of the machine. And that's why for that concern, I've included the last lecture of this course, which will be maybe in 16th week, that is totally dedicated to the understanding the practical application of this field in the industry. Okay, if you have any question till now, you can ask. Anyone has a question? आवाज सारों को आ रही है? Okay. Anyone have got any question till now? Okay. If you have any question, you can unmute your mic. Okay, so this is the brief introduction of what I've done for last about 8 or 9 years. I've split my you can say time in understanding how you perform the vibration analysis in the laboratory. I actually developed my own new mathematical model of vibration in my PhD, as well as how this field is applied in the industry by doing different projects with the industry. Okay, so this is a brief introduction. Let's start with the course. So this is the marks distribution of your course. So you will have 6 quizzes of 10%. Then you have an assignment of 10%. This will be probably the problem set. I've given you 2 or 3 problem sets related to when we go through this course. I will give you 2 or 3 problem sets that you can solve and have a practice over the understanding different topics of the subject. Then again, we have a 2 session and the end semester exam. The books that I am using is the first book is Theory of Vibration with Application, 5th edition. This is the 5th edition by William T. Thompson. This is a book. I've already uploaded the soft copy of this book on Classroom. Similarly, this is treated as the textbook. So most of the example problem as well as the exercise problems are from this book, the Theory of Vibration with Applications, 5th edition by William T. Thompson. This will be treated as the textbook. The second book, which I actually got through 2 or 3 topics from this book. This is Engineering Vibration, 3rd edition by Daniel J. Inman. This is the reference book. I've taken 2 or 3 topics from this book, and the third book is the Shom Outline of the Mechanical Vibration by William W. Sito. This is the third book. I've used this only for the last topic, which is I've introduced later. So whenever I'm teaching that topic, I will give you the soft copy of that topic. I do not got the soft copy of the third book, which is Shom Outline of Mechanical Vibrations, but I have got the hard copy. So the first 2 books, Theory of Vibration with Applications and the Engineering Vibration, I've already uploaded the soft copy of those books on the Classroom. So kindly remember that strict to the editions. You can also purchase it. The first book is easily available, and a most widely used book throughout the world uh, whenever teaching a vibration course at the undergraduate level. So this is easily available. If you go to in the Pindi or on the old book house, you probably find the first book. But again, if if anyone does not have access to the hard copy, you can have always a soft copy. You can download it on from Google Classroom. So the second book is slightly harder to find in the hard form, but in any case, again, I have uploaded the second book on the Classroom as well. You can see that. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, as you know that we have now shifted to the OBE based system. So now every course has certain outcomes, learning outcomes. So these are the two outcomes for your course. If you just see those outcomes, the first outcome will be related to a single degree of freedom systems, and I will explain what is a single or a multi degree of freedom. And the second will be odd or multi degree of freedom systems. So actually, we have split the course into two parts. About first part of the course, which is about 7 or 8 or maybe 9 weeks, we are studying about this single degree of freedom, and for the rest about 5, 6 or 7 weeks, last 5, 6 or 7 weeks, we will talk about the multi degree of freedom systems. So these are two main division of the course. Okay, so let's move to the course outline, what we will study in this course. So from this lecture onward, you will have a slight introduction to mechanical vibrations. Then we'll talk about the formulation of governing equation. This is a very important, because governing equations actually give you that how system will what is the mathematical form of the system, and this is one of the most important skill of an engineer, I believe, that the main task of an engineer, not only in vibration but in any other field, that you have an ability to convert a physical system into a mathematical system, so that you can then solve it to understand how it will behave in the real world. So that's why this is a very important part. Maybe take 2 lectures. So we will talk about the formulation of governing equations of different vibration systems. The third will be talk about free vibrations, and I will explain when we will start this topic. Then we'll talk about the damping. What is the damp? What are different types of damping, and how these vibrations are related to the damping. Then the most important that is practically applied is the forced vibrations that occurs in most of the real applications. Then we study the applications of the forced vibration. The first application will be the rotation unbalance. The second will be the base excitation or the support motion. Then we will move from till base excitation. This is a single degree of freedom system. So from that onward, from normal mode analysis, we shift to the single degree of freedom to 2, 3, or 4. So from 2 onward, they are called multi degree of freedom systems. Normal mode analysis, I will explain when we'll get to this topic. Vibration absorbers, Holzer method, and last is the condition monitoring. Now, for this part, I just so for this part, which is the condition monitoring, this is the part that I was explaining you earlier. Condition monitoring is the actual technique applied in the industry to find out the why it's called condition monitoring. The condition means to find the health of the machine, whether machine is operating its normal condition or in abnormal conditions. So we continuously monitor the condition of the machines in the industry. So normally this field is known as condition monitoring of the machinery. So this is the last topic that I'm talking about earlier, and we will cover this topic in the last part of the course. So from introduction to the mechanical vibration till the Holzer method, we mostly deal with the mathematical understanding of the course. And you will realize during the course that if you understand the actual mathematics, you will then predict the behavior of any system in the real world. And why I'm saying this is because I've practically done the mathematical modeling of the real systems and applied it in the industry, and they actually worked. So that's why I'm actually very conscious that you should understand that how mathematics is developed and how we then use these mathematics to then apply to the real world applications. So this is the outline of the course. Again, if you have any question till now, you can ask. Then we'll move forward. Any question from your side? Okay. So if you can give me a message that आवाज सारों को आ रही है? Is my voice clear? Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, so this is the outline of the course. So let's start. We will start with the first part, that's introduction. And in the introduction, I will just briefly explain how this field is actually based on and has been applied in the industry as well. So in the last part of the first lecture, I will give you a slight introduction of the condition monitoring part, but the detail will be shared in the last lecture of this course. Okay. So first we will be starting the introduction to mechanical vibration. This is chapter number 1 and 2. So this whole topic will be covered from chapter 1 and 2 from William T. Thomson. The first book that is given you, that is Theory of Vibration with Applications by William T. Thomson. Okay, so now we start understanding the basic concept of this course. Again, if you have any question, you can ask during the lecture. Okay, so the basic concept. Okay, before starting, I will just give you a very famous quote from Nikola Tesla, and he says, if you want to find the secret of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So if any one of you know what is a string theory, so the latest theory which actually gives you an idea of how universe is functioning at a very fundamental level, although it's still a theory and yet to prove, but people is now understanding that the energy comes, all the energy that exists in the universe comes from the vibration of small string that is very small, even smaller than the electrons and protons, and they vibrate with a certain energy and they have a certain frequency. So all the energy that exists in this universe is because of the vibrations of those small strings and the combination of the vibration of those small strings that actually give you the actual energy at the mega level. So this is although it's still a theory, it's proposed in 1970s and still it's plausible. People are working on it, but this is the quote about 100 years ago, that he actually knows that the all energy of universe lies in understanding the vibrations. So that's why I've just quoted a famous quote from Tesla. Okay, so before going to the vibrations, we have to just credit the people who have actually developed this field. And if you want to credit the development of the vibration, the all credit goes to Sir Isaac Newton. He's the first physicist, the first mathematician, and you know, because we have heard about his laws of motion from your school. His laws of motion are quite fundamental and they are very, very useful. And I can tell you that without his laws of motion, without the understanding of the laws of motion, the vibration analysis is impossible. Just quickly go through the background or the historical background just in about 2 or 3 minutes. If anyone has a certain thought that it was a Newton who understands motion, because vibration is one of the class of motion. So just to give you an idea, the for example, let's say the motion can be in a straight line, the motion can be in a curvilinear path, motion can be of random, it can be like this, or it can be like a vibratory motion. So these are all kinds of motions, and Newton laws of motion governs almost all kinds of motion. That's why it's a very fundamental laws of motion. Now, what Newton does is he actually developed the mathematical understanding of the laws of motion. So laws of motion, or the how a body behaves in a space, how it moves in space, is known from a time of Aristotle or Pythagoras. Now, the first person who actually use, because now we know in engineering and physics, that if you want to understand engineering and physics, it's very important that you should understand mathematics. And maybe you all agree with me that without the understanding of mathematics, you cannot able to do engineering. You cannot able to design anything that has no mathematics in it. And this idea, which is now seems to be very obvious, that everyone, I think so, no one will disagree that without mathematics we can do physics or we can do engineering. You can't do anything without mathematics, not physics or not engineering. Now, this is not the idea developed by Newton. This is the first person who actually developed this idea that the math can be used to understand physics, which means if you want to understand the real systems, if you understand the real how a universe behaves, how the different you can say components of the universe behaves, how different planets behaves, so all of this should be understood using mathematics. And that is first, this understanding is first developed with a complete foundation by Abu Rehan al-Biruni in about 11th century. He knows that if you want to understand physics, you have to use mathematics. Then if the question is, if al-Biruni knows, why we credit Newton? Now, al-Biruni has used a fundamental physics, fundamental mathematics, like if you know the how he has find the circumference and the radius of the earth, he used the geometry, the mathematics, to understand the actual diameter and the circumference of the earth. But why we credit Isaac Newton is because he's the first person who actually formulated mathematical equations that actually is supporting the laws of motion. So for example, if you look at the second law of motion, so it says summation F is equals to ma. So you all know from your previous understanding from school, this is the second law of motion. And also Newton has three equations of motions as well. So it says if any body, let's say if you have a body that is moving in this direction, so let's say you have maybe you have one force that is driving this force. There's a one force that is a frictional force. There's a one force that may be a drag force. There will be another force, let's say any other kind of force. There will be a weight downward. Anyhow, if sum of all forces on the body produces a non-zero sum, which means the sum is non-zero, the body actually moves, and it actually moves with the quantity that is ma, mass time acceleration. Now this law is, although you know from your school, is very fundamental, that all of the vibration systems, and more, you can say almost all of the vibration systems, can be understood by using this law of motion. But when we will mathematically formulate the system, you will realize that this law, although is the simplest in its you can say appearance, is actually has enclosed a very wide understanding of especially vibration and all other kind of motion, including straight line motion, curvilinear motion, all so because in this course we are talking about only the vibratory motion or the periodic motion. That's why we will talk about so I'm highlighting the importance of the Newton's second law of motion for the this case. Uh, so in all of the course we will talk about the Newton's second law, mostly with the Newton's second law of motion. That's why I've added a slide, because what I realized that we are living in a culture that it is very difficult to give credit to somebody who has actually done a very brilliant work. So I can assure you that without the Newton understanding of motion, we will not able to understand the vibration, how our vibrating system behaves. Uh, okay, so this is the slide introduction what people have done over last many years. In my PhD, I've actually developed a new mathematical model of the vibrations, and again I can assure you that is also based on Newton's second law of motion. So if you even finding the new models, the new understanding of the field, which is still not known in this world, is still lies in these laws of motion. Without these laws of motion, you cannot. Still now we have developed no system which does not contain his laws of motion, especially the second law of motion. Okay, so let's move forward with the field. Now, if anyone want to tell me what is vibration, if he can unmute his mic and tell me, anyone who can define the vibration, anyone.
Sir, a
Yeah.
sort of sound repulsion.
Okay. Yes. Good. Or if you want to define a very fundamental level, like not in sound, there may be mechanical vibration as well. So how you can define then?
So the vibration of the sound waves by the physical means, just like in a machine parts.
Okay. 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 Good. Any other student? Can you define the vibration? Please come up, no problem. There could be a wrong, no problem. Be interactive. Try to explain, because you will only understand when we will discuss these things. If you not discuss anything, you will not understand anything. So there will be one definition from one side, that is the pulsations or the repulsion or the sound that travels due to the vibration of particles. That's a very good definition. Yes, it's a one kind of vibration. Normally called as acoustic vibration, but it's still a vibration. Okay, so if you define the vibration in a very simplified terms, if you have studied it from your school, is the oscillation about an equilibrium position. So let's say if you have a body, so this is the time and this is the amplitude. And again, if you just recall from your metric or FSC, that a body start moving from its mean position to extreme position, then back to mean position, then towards the extreme position in the negative direction, then to the mean position, and then to the next extreme position, and then down and so on. So this is the equilibrium position. This is the equilibrium position. So a body oscillates around its equilibrium position is normally known as vibration. No, so we're talking about this kind of motion. Again, I'm telling you the motion can be of other types. As you have studied in engineering dynamics, You have not studied about vibration, but you studied about the straight line motion. You have studied about the curvilinear motions. You have studied about parabola. But we are talking about a specialized kind of motion. So it's a specialized kind of dynamics, which is the periodic motion. And all of you know that why we are studying this topic. If you just imagine in your mind that where you have observed those vibrations, anyone who can just give me examples that he's observed in his understanding before this subject, that where you have seen those vibrations in your normal routine life. Anyone? Yes, please. Anyone who can give me some example? सुन भी रहे हैं सारे कि नहीं सुन रहे? ओके, यू कैन अनम्यूट योर माइक. इस पे ना दें, मतलब अनम्यूट करके दे दें. वैसे में तो आप दे ही रहे हैं, लेकिन अनम्यूट करके मुझे बता दें. वैसे
सर गिटार.
गुड गुड, गिटार, वेरी गुड. और एनी अदर, और कोई चीज?
The shocks in the car.
गुड, वेरी गुड. शॉक्स इन द कार, गुड. और कोई और एग्जांपल?
Spring, sir.
जी,
Spring.
स्प्रिंग, गुड, यस, इट वाइब्रेट्स. आपकी मोबाइल में जो आप वाइब्रेशन लगाते हैं, जो उठने के लिए और नहीं उठते, वो भी वाइब्रेशन ही होती है. तो मोबाइल में भी वाइब्रेशन होती है. सो योर मोबाइल हैज वाइब्रेशंस. यस, गुड. योर शॉक्स हैज
Pendulum of a
वाइब्रेशन.
clock, sir.
पेंडुलम और क्लॉक, वेरी गुड. सो और कोई एप्लीकेशन? स्ट्रक्चर्स आपके वाइब्रेट करते हैं, आपने कभी देखे होंगे. कोई किसी के जहाज पर ट्रेवल किया हो तो उसके विंग वाइब्रेट कर रहे होते हैं जब वो टेक ऑफ कर रहा होता है या इवन फ्लाई कर रहा होता है. आप कभी गाड़ी में इंजन स्टार्ट करें तो आपको इंजन वाइब्रेट करता हुआ नजर आएगा. आप कभी इंजन को देखें, बोनट उठा के, बकायदा जो है वो वाइब्रेशन कर रहा होगा. सो vibration has many applications. मतलब ये it's not a subject that there are very specified applications की 2-3 जगह पे apply होता है.
Sir, to and fro motion in mass spring system.
बिल्कुल ठीक है. Very good. This is a one kind of fundamental kind of vibratory motion. So you can see applications are way, मतलब there are a huge number of applications. There are so many applications of vibration in the real life. That's why this is one of the field that is even today is least understood. Even people are working. I've done my whole PhD on a very small aspect of vibration, and still there are a lot of phenomena of vibration which we don't understand right now. I'm talking not about Pakistan, I'm talking about the world. So a lot of people are now working on different applications of the vibration. That's why it's not a subject you can say everyone knows everything and now we know everything. Even if someone want to do a high level research, it's a very wide area that you can still work on. So that's why I'm emphasizing on the examples, that you know that this is not a very specific subject related to a very specific application. This is a very wide subject. It has a lot of applications. The problem with this course is definitely I cannot touch all the examples. I will touch few examples that you will see in the real life, or they're actually used in the real life. Let's say, for example, as I've shown you a table of contents, the vibration absorber is one of the biggest application of vibration in the real life, and I've seen physically in the industry, in the structures. So it has a lot of applications. That's why I'm emphasizing on the examples. why you are studying this course is because again another one important aspect is no other engineering actually study about vibrations. It's only mechanical engineers who study vibrations. Clear? It's only mechanical engineers who study vibrations. So this subject is not known by any other engineer, or civil engineer, or electrical engineer. Maybe they talk about the electrical engineer, may talk about the electrical vibrations, but they talk about mechanical vibration, which is occurs in one of the physical real systems. So as one of the students told, it's a to and fro motion, or it's an oscillatory motion. It's a repeated motion. It's a periodic motion. And the second important condition is it should be about its equilibrium position. There must be a single equilibrium position that a body should move around. If there is no equilibrium position, it has no vibration. So it should be a mean position around which our body vibrates or oscillates. Now, there are many applications in which vibration is not desirable. For example, if you look at your engine of your car, your engine vibrates because it has unbalanced forces. So what a latest or a new car designers try to isolate those vibrations, that if you are sitting in the cabin of your car, you will not feel any vibrations. But vibrations are there. It's there in the engine. So they are not desirable, but they are inevitable. Inevitable means they have to come. वो आएंगी ही आएंगी, आप उनको नहीं कहीं ले जा सकते. तो आप क्या करेंगे? What you will do? You will try to isolate those vibrations, so that you will not feel any vibration or the least vibrations in your seat, at your seat, or in your car cabin. So in many other applications, for example, in your mobile, the vibrations are produced, and that is produced by a motor with the unbalanced mass. So I will explain you later in maybe 6th or 7th week. But that vibrations are desirable. I hope you understood my point. There are applications in which vibrations is inevitable, which means they have to come, but they are not desirable. What you want is that this vibration should not come. A very brilliant example of vibration is earthquake. Earthquake is a vibration as a mega scale, and it's always undesirable. But you can do nothing about the earthquake. What you can do is design a structures that actually save you from the earthquake vibrations. But it's still a vibration. It's undesirable, but still a vibration. Okay, there are applications in which vibration is desirable. For example, just I've told you, the first example is your mobile alarm that contains a motor with the unbalance, and when your alarm rings, the motor rotates, and that motor rotates, creates vibration. That vibration alerts you that your alarm has been rung. Similarly, the second most application, anyone who is from the agriculture background is know there's a thresher used to separate the grains from the hay of the wheat. So they use the vibrations to actually filter out the grain. जो पूरा छन्नी लगाते हैं जिससे वो छानते हैं दाने को, उसमें अब खुद वाइब्रेशन खुद क्रिएट करते हैं, जान के खुद पैदा करते हैं ताकि उससे जो है वो फिल्टर हो. सो वाइब्रेशन की एप्लीकेशन डिजायरेबल भी हैं, यानी कि आप चाहते भी हैं कि वाइब्रेशन हो, लेकिन कई जगहों पे आप नहीं भी चाहते कि वाइब्रेशन हो. दोनों सूरतों में आपको वाइब्रेशन को अंडरस्टैंड करना पड़ता है. जहां पे वाइब्रेशन आपको नहीं चाहिए वहां पे आपको कम से कम करनी पड़ती है. एक बात मैं वाजे कर दूं सारों को, वाइब्रेशन कभी खत्म नहीं की जा सकती. अगर एक सिस्टम में वाइब्रेशन पैदा हो रही है और वो अनडिजायरेबल है, अनडिजायरेबल मतलब आप नहीं चाहते कि पैदा हो, लेकिन वो किसी फिजिकल फिनोमेना की वजह से हो रही है, उसमें कोई भी फोर्सेस लग रही है, कुछ भी हो रहा है, आप उस वाइब्रेशन को खत्म नहीं कर सकते. आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या कर सकते हैं, आप उसको कम कर सकते हैं, उसका अफेक्ट स्ट्रक्चर पे कम कर सकते हैं, उसके अनडिजायरेबल, उसके जो एडवर्स इफेक्ट्स हैं उससे बचा सकते हैं. आप वाइब्रेशन को खत्म नहीं कर सकते. ये बात बहुत वाज़ेह है. क्यों? क्योंकि जिस वजह से वो वाइब्रेशन पैदा हो रही है आप उसको नहीं खत्म कर सकते. मैं आपको छोटी सी मिसाल देता हूँ. अब एयरक्राफ्ट का विंग है, एयरक्राफ्ट जो फ्लाई करता है विंग वाइब्रेट करता है. अब आप क्या करेंगे, एयरक्राफ्ट को उड़ाएंगे नहीं, एयरक्राफ्ट ने तो उड़ना है. जब उसने उड़ना है तो हवा ने उस पर फोर्स भी लगानी है, कुव्वत भी लगानी है, और क्या होना है कि उसने वाइब्रेट भी करना है। आप क्या करेंगे, आप स्ट्रक्चर को डिजाइन ऐसे करेंगे कि उस वाइब्रेशन का इफेक्ट स्ट्रक्चर पे कम से कम हो, यानी कि उस पर डैमेज कम से कम हो। ठीक है, सो वाइब्रेशन डिजाइनर्स, जो कि बहुत बड़ी मतलब आप कह लें कैटेगरी होती है, उसे कहते हैं देयर वाइब्रेशन डिजाइनर्स। तो वो क्या कर सोर्स फाइंड करते हैं और फिर ये देखते हैं कि अगर तो फोर्स रिमूव करना, जैसे मैं बताया, मोस्ट ऑफ केसेस पॉसिबल ही नहीं होता, तो फिर आप उसके इफेक्ट्स को रिड्यूस करते हैं स्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर। ठीक है, लेकिन उसको रिड्यूस करने के लिए आपको पता होना चाहिए कि वाइब्रेशन बिहेव इन किस पैरामीटर्स पे डिपेंड, स्ट्रक्चर किस पैरामीटर्स पे डिपेंड करता है, ताकि आप उनको प्ले करके उसको चेंज कर सकें। ठीक है, और जहां पे आप जो वाइब्रेशन की एप्लीकेशन है, जहां पे आप वाइब्रेशन को जो है वो खुद प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, वहां पे भी आपको वाइब्रेशन कंट्रोल तरीके से प्रोड्यूस करनी पड़ती है। क्योंकि अगर आप वाइब्रेशन प्रोड्यूस करें, क्योंकि वाइब्रेशन एक एक जगह पे प्रोड्यूस करें तो बाकी दूसरे जो कनेक्टेड पार्ट्स हैं होता है उसके लिए खतरनाक हो वाइब्रेशन, और वो उसको डैमेज कर दे। जिस तरह मैं आपको फॉर एग्जांपल दूं, वाइब्रेशन अमूमन जो है क्या करती है कि ये वेल्ड्स को तोड़ देती है या रिवेट्स को तोड़ देती है, बोल्ट के जो थ्रेड्स है उनको फेल कर देती है। तो अगर आपके एक पॉइंट पे वाइब्रेशन प्रोड्यूस कर भी रहे हैं जो आपकी एक जरूरी है, तो उसके जो बाकी कंपोनेंट्स हैं उससे उसको सेव करना पड़ता है। उसके क्या तरीके होते हैं वो हम कोर्स में देखेंगे, इस कोर्स में पूरे देखेंगे। इसलिए मैंने कहा कि मैं कुछ कोर्स आपको प्रैक्टिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग से भी लेके जाऊंगा, और तो शायद कोई और पढ़ा रहा होता तो वो शायद आपको इस तरह लेके जाता, लेकिन मैं आपको कोशिश करूंगा कि इसके मतलब इसके थ्रू लेके जाऊं ताकि आपको दोनों साइड से लिंक हो जाए, थियोरेटिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग और प्रैक्टिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग। सो आई थिंक माय पॉइंट इज क्लियर। जो मेरा मैं आपको पॉइंट बताना चाहता हूँ वो मैं आई थिंक सारा क्लियर हो गया होगा कि वाइब्रेशन एक कई जगह पे इनएविटेबल भी होती है, यानी कि नागुजीर होती है, उसने होना ही होना होता है। तो हम उसकी जो इफेक्ट्स हैं उनको रिड्यूस करते हैं बाय एफिशिएंटली डिजाइनिंग अ स्ट्रक्चर that is prone to vibration, that is subjected to vibrations. Similarly, there are applications in which the vibrations you want to produce intentionally want to produce vibrations, but again you have to produce it in a controlled manner, so that it will not damage your structure. Okay, so anyone who has a question till now, अगर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाह रहा है यहाँ पे किसी एप्लीकेशन के हवाले से या जनरली, तो वो पूछ सकता है। Okay, anyone has any question up till now? Okay, okay. Okay, so the first most important application of vibration is a mass spring system. Spring, as one of the students is explaining earlier, that you have a spring, you have a mass, and what happens is this mass moves, and that's why vibration takes place. If you closely analyze this motion, you can see that it has an equilibrium position. I think so, about, sorry, not here. So somewhere like here, possibly here, and maybe slightly above. So it has equilibrium position and the body moves around equilibrium position. So this is one kind of system. And the mass spring system, what is called mass spring system, it consists of a spring and a mass. So it's called a mass spring system, and it's the fundamental system that we will start modeling with. This is the fundamental system of vibration that we start modeling with. Why? Because many of the complex vibration systems can be converted into this simple mass spring system, and that I will show you in the last part of this first lecture, at how you will convert a most complex system which looks very complex in its appearance can be converted into a simpler system like a mass spring system, as you can see on your screen. And when you convert a complicated system into a simpler system, then it's easy to solve. Otherwise, if you look at the real system, real world, it's you will baffled by that how you have to solve it. So the first fundamental system that we will solve is the mass spring system. The second system, as one was explaining earlier, is again a pendulum system. Okay, another fundamental system of the vibrations. So we will model these two systems, basic systems, and then we'll move, not in this lecture, we'll start modeling in the next lecture, but I'm just explaining earlier that these are the two fundamental systems that will be start modeling with, and then we will then start to further advancing in the subject to the more complex systems. So these are the two, again, if someone, so this is our mass spring system, and this is our pendulum system. Okay, so the basic, you can say the basic rule that is governed in the vibratory motion is a simple harmonic motion. And if you, I think you remember from your FSC that a simple harmonic motion is the type of periodic motion where restoring force is proportional to the displacement. So which means that if you remember, the one of the most brilliant scientists in about 17th century has developed this concept. This is called, I think so everyone knows, this is called Hooke's law. And Robert Hooke, who is the mathematician and physicist in 17th century, has developed this law. He is basically a colleague of Isaac Newton. So he developed the Hooke's law, and it says that your restoring force, if this is your restoring force, just call it Fr, your restoring force is directly proportional to displacement. So for example, if you have a mass spring system, let's say I'm drawing here. If you have a mass spring system, this is as a stiffness K, mass M, and it moves downward like this. So if you trace the motion, sorry. So if you trace the motion, its motion is like this. Clear? So what is X? X is from this point till this point. This is the maximum displacement, which is X. Clear? So the restoring force, which is when this spring, change the color. So when this move downwards, there will be a restoring force upward of spring that is called Fr, but the simple harmonic motion says that this is directly proportional to displacement. This is very, very, very important, as Hooke's law defines. It's directly proportional to displacement, but act opposite to displacement. This is second most important point, that when displacement is acting downward, so your X is downward, your restoring force must be upward. Why? Because if you just physically imagine that when your body or mass M is moving downward, when your, just a second, when your mass is moving downward, so your spring starts stretching. So this will produce a stress on the spring. What spring tries to do is to restore himself. In restoring it, it generates a force opposite to displacement, that we call it Fr. And if this mass is moving upward, the spring tends to be compressed, and then it's try to come back to equilibrium position. It actually apply a force in opposite direction. So first we have a restoring force directly proportional to displacement, which means that when displacement increases, your restoring force increases, and when your displacement decreases, your restoring force decreases. And x in the direction opposite to displacement. So if displacement is in the positive direction, the restoring force will be in the negative direction. So this is the what the Hooke's law says. And this is the fundamental understanding behind a simple harmonic motion and in turn the vibrations. Okay. So for any simple harmonic oscillator, which means if oscillator or the oscillatory motion or the vibratory motion is simple, is again, इसको just summarize. Restoring force tends to restore the system to equilibrium, fine. And second, if when it's displaced from its equilibrium position, it experiences a net restoring force which opposite to that of displacement, and it accelerates back to equilibrium position. So what happens is that when you displace a mass from its mean position, this tends to restore it from its disturbed position to its mean position by generating an restoring force. So this are the two basic conditions of the simple harmonic motion, and most of the vibration system, real vibration system, is based on the simple harmonic motion. Okay. So if you look at, if you freeze this, let's say if you look at here, so we have the freeze frames of the vibratories, or you can trace the one cycle. So let's say this is its mean position. So I'm just drawing here. So let's say this is the mean position, or maybe slightly downward. Sorry, एक second. So you can say this is about, you have this is the mean position. Clear? So you have a motion upward, then mean position, then to negative downward, then to the mean position, and then to the upward, and then to the mean position. So we have from this point till this point, we have one cycle. Clear? So if I just change the color, so from this point till this point, you have one cycle, or from this point to this point, you have one cycle, or from this point to this point, you have one cycle. So, okay, the right side shows the graphs of three parameters. Okay, the first parameter is displacement. Now, always remember, and this is for the whole course, vibration is measured or analyzed in three parameters. When you want to quantify vibration, which means you can say, how much is the vibration? What is the quantity of the vibration? So vibration is actually measured in three parameters. The first parameter is displacement. The second parameter is velocity. The third parameter is acceleration. Vibration can be measured with no other than these three parameters. So if you want to measure vibration, you can either measure vibration in terms of displacement, in terms of velocity, and in terms of acceleration. Clear? So these are three fundamental parameters. And why I'm focusing on these three fundamental parameters? Because in the real world, throughout many real applications, when you want to measure vibration or quantify vibration, you use these three parameters. And out of these three, the fundamental mode of vibration measurement is acceleration. And in my research work, I've actually used an instrument normally known as accelerometer. accelerometer. And why it's called accelerometer? It's a meter that record acceleration. Why it is measured in acceleration, that is a very long story, or that will covered inshallah in the last part जब हम condition monitoring को touch कि इसमें कैसे क्यों हम measure करते हैं acceleration को. बहरहाल आप ये point अपने पास note कर लें ताकि अगर मुझे याद न रहे तो आप जरूर मुझे याद करवा दें. So we have three parameters: displacement, velocity, and acceleration. So these are three parameters. Okay, if you look at the displacement, velocity, and acceleration in this frame, so at this point, which you can say a positive mean position, you have a maximum displacement, clear, mean position, this from this point. At the extreme position, your velocity is 0. And if you look at this graph, whenever you have an extreme or the maximum displacement, your velocity is 0. You can just trace this line. Clear? So your velocity is 0, and at the extreme point, the acceleration is acting downward. Why acting downward? Because again, according to a simple harmonic motion rule, the body has to be accelerate towards the mean position. So that's why if you trace the same line downward, so you have a negative peak of acceleration. This will tell you that whenever the your displacement has a positive peak, which is this, your acceleration has a negative peak. There are also peaks. So we have a highest displacement at the we have highest displacement and the acceleration at the extreme position. This is the extreme position. This is the extreme position, but with the opposite sign, which means when displacement is as the positive peak, the acceleration must be the negative peak. But at the extreme position, the velocity is always 0. So if you trace the maximum peak points of the displacement like this is the peak point, this, and this is the peak point. If you look at all those peak points, one is this, second is this, third is this, and fourth is this. At all those points, your velocity is 0. And why 0? Because these are the extreme positions. These are the extreme positions. And at the same time, your acceleration is maximum, but with the opposite sign as respect of displacement. And if I just recall you from your FSC, you will see this in detail in the later lecture. But if you recall your FSC, I think so from the first chapter of the physics, first year physics from, I think so from the 7th chapter, x of t, which is the displacement, and you know whenever you have a vibration signal, the x-axis always has time. This is for sure. This is valid for every real system. And the y-axis can be displacement, it can be velocities, can be acceleration. But your x-axis will always be time. So x of t, which means the displacement as a function of time, because displacement is there is a displacement occurring in the during the time, is some x naught. I'm just reminding from your FSC. X naught is this maximum displacement from mean to extreme position times some sine omega t. And what is omega? Omega is called the angular frequency, which is nothing but 2 pi f, where f is the frequency of vibration. Clear? And what is the frequency? Its frequency is equals to the number of cycles per second. So if you perform one cycle in 1 second, so the one frequency of 1 cycle per second, or 1 hertz. If you perform 2 cycles in a single second, it has 2 hertz, and so on. So this is how. If I want to find the velocity, so I just want to find x dot of t. X dot of t or dx by dt. If I take the derivative of the velocity, what I get is the velocity. And if you take the derivative of this, and you know with respect to time, that is x naught omega cos omega t. A derivative of x naught sine omega t, you get x naught omega cos omega t. And you again take the derivative of this, which is simply means that if you take dv by dt, sorry, so I'm just writing on the upper side. So if you take dv by dt, which you can call it, generally we call it as x double dot of t. Double dot means it's a time derivative. Whenever you have a prime means a spatial derivative. And when you have a dot on the upper side of a variable, it means a time derivative. If you take the derivative of this, what you get is x naught omega square sine omega t, but with a minus sign. And minus sign naturally comes when you take the derivative. But if you look at closely, these two, this and this, so you have a plus sign here and you have a negative sign here. Both has a sign in it, which means both have the maximum values at the same point. But a minus sign shows that if one has a positive peak, the other one has a negative peak. So that's why whenever you have the maximum displacement, you have a maximum acceleration, but the acceleration must be, and displacement acceleration must have the opposite directions. So that's why you actually understand the harmonic motion. So 10 more minutes and we'll finish the lecture. 10 मिनट और के बाद हम लेक्चर खत्म कर देंगे. अभी कोई आपके पास कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप पूछ लें. टिल नाउ अगर आप कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाह रहे हैं तो पूछ लें.
सर काइंडली आप इसकी स्लाइड्स भी शेयर कर दें.
मैं कर दूंगा, आज ही कर दूंगा, उसकी आप फिक्र ना करें. कोई क्वेश्चन अब तक पूछना हो, कोई बात समझ ना आई हो अब तक, वो पूछ लें काइंडली. और बिल्कुल घबराना नहीं है. आपने बेसिक्स भी अगर आपको नहीं आती ना, बेसिक्स भी भूल गई हुई हैं, तो बेसिक्स भी पूछ लें, नो प्रॉब्लम. आपने कॉन्सेप्ट अपना क्लियर करना है. बिल्कुल मैं दोबारा समझा दूंगा, लेकिन अगर आपको यहाँ पे अंडरस्टैंडिंग ना हो, फिर आगे जाके आपके लिए सब्जेक्ट को एब्जॉर्ब करना और मुश्किल होता जाएगा. इसलिए अगर आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती गई, एक बात मैं वाजे कर दूं सारों को, आपको ये कोर्स समझ आएगी तो आप इस पेपर कर सकते हैं. रट्टे के साथ आप ये कोर्स कभी पास नहीं कर सकते. मैं आपको बड़ी क्लियरली स्टेट कर रहा हूँ. आपको सारा का सारा, आपको जो प्रॉब्लम्स पेपर में आएंगी वो नॉर्मली बुक से बाहर होंगी. प्रैक्टिस होगी आपकी तो आप वो कर लेंगे. मैं तकरीबन नाउ आई एम टीचिंग दिस कोर्स फॉर 8th टाइम नाउ. तो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है इस कोर्स के साथ बहुत ज़्यादा. मुझे पता है कि जो बंदा इस कोर्स को समझ लेगा उसके लिए कोई ज़रूरत नहीं, उसको कोई चीज़ रटा मारने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. आपको समझ आ गई, आप पेपर सॉल्व कर लेंगे. आपको रटा मारने की कोशिश की, आप पेपर सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि सारा का सारा पेपर जो होगा वो कॉन्सेप्ट पे बेस करेगा. आपको समझ आई है कि सिस्टम की कि नहीं, तो वो समझ आपको होगी तो आप पेपर इजीली सॉल्व कर लेंगे. इसीलिए मेरा फोकस है. अभी अनफॉर्चुनेटली चूंकि अभी हम इस डिफिकल्ट फेज से गुजर रहे हैं, तो वैसे तो ये क्लासें आपकी फिजिकल थी, वो अभी नहीं हो रही, क्योंकि अभी आपकी 5 अक्टूबर से शुरू होंगी. वो भी अगर हालात अल्लाह करे सही रहे तो वो मेरे ख्याल में ज़्यादा अच्छा इंटरेक्शन होगा. लेकिन उससे पहले तक, जब तक हमारे पास मतलब वो अभी नहीं है, अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है फिजिकल क्लास की, तो हम इसी मोड पे चलेंगे. और इसलिए मेरी कोशिश है कि आपको वर्ड बाय वर्ड एक एक चीज़ समझ आए कि क्या हो रहा है. क्योंकि ये उतना अच्छा इंटरेक्शन तो नहीं है जितना क्लास में होता है, लेकिन फिर भी अगर आप अच्छे तरीके से इन्वॉल्व होंगे तो इंशाल्लाह मुझे उम्मीद है कि आपको स्टेप बाय स्टेप समझ आएगा। और ये बात मैं आपको फॉर श्योर बता सकता हूँ कि बहुत सारे मेरे ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स पुराने रहे हैं जिन्होंने इस सब्जेक्ट की बेस पे इंटरव्यू क्लियर कर लिया अपना जॉब का, क्योंकि मैं आपको इस सब्जेक्ट में वो बातें भी बताऊंगा जो इंडस्ट्री में इस टाइम एक्चुअली में अप्लाई होती हैं। तो अगर आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपकी अच्छी होगी, फॉर एग्जांपल आपसे कोई बंदा पूछेगा, आप कहेंगे जी मुझे इसकी प्रैक्टिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग भी है, वो आपसे दो चार टर्म्स पूछेगा और वो टर्म्स वो होंगी जो टिपिकल इंडस्ट्री में यूज होती हैं। मैं आपको उन टर्म्स से भी आशनाई दूंगा, उस टर्म्स भी बताऊंगा कि वो टर्म्स क्या होती हैं, कैसे यूज करते हैं, क्या टेक्निक यूज करते हैं, क्या करते हैं। तो ऐसे स्टूडेंट मेरे पास आए, उन्होंने कहा सर हमने तो वाइब्रेशन के बारे में बताया इंटरव्यू में, तो हमारा इंटरव्यू क्लियर हो गया। इसलिए कि उनको प्रैक्टिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी, उनको सब्जेक्ट की समझ आ गई थी। इसलिए मैं आपको बता दूं कि ये जरूरी है, और इसीलिए मैंने अपनी बहुत एनर्जी इसमें इन्वेस्ट करूंगा भी, और मैंने पहले भी की है, ताकि इस सब्जेक्ट को मिक्सर बनाया जाए। बहुत सारे आप में से स्टूडेंट का ये मतलब गिला है, जो कि बहुत हद तक जायज भी है, कि हम सारा थ्योरेटिकली पढ़ते हैं। हमें तो हम कभी, आप जिन्होंने इंटर्नशिप्स को कभी की हो या कभी इंडस्ट्री में वैसे विजिट किया हो, तो आप ये तो कुछ अप्लाई नहीं हो रहा, कुछ नजर ही नहीं आ रहा कि कहाँ अप्लाई हो रहा है, हम क्या जो पढ़े। लेकिन इस कोर्स के लिए खास तौर पर, बाकियों की तो मैं कुछ बात नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन इस कोर्स के लिए मेरी कोशिश होगी कि आपको वो भी बताऊंगा जो प्रैक्टिकली इंडस्ट्री में इस टाइम भी हो रहा है, ताकि आप जब कहीं किसी इंडस्ट्री में इंटरव्यू देने जाएं तो आप उसे बताएं कि जी मुझे पता है इंडस्ट्री के बारे में, मुझे पता है कि ये फील्ड इंडस्ट्री में अप्लाई होती है। अब जो इंडस्ट्री का बंदा होता है, चूंकि ये वो फील्ड है वाइब्रेशन एनालिसिस की जो नॉर्मल इंडस्ट्री में यूज होती है, या तो उनके पास अपना बंदा होता है, या अगर नहीं होता तो वो कंसल्टेंट को हायर करते हैं। अब फॉर एग्जांपल आपकी इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए मैं ये ऐड कर दूं, आप पढ़िएगा, एक बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है, लाहौर बेस्ड है, वो ये काम करती है, उसका नाम है स्मीको टेक्नोलॉजीज, SUMICO, सुमिको टेक्नोलॉजीज। ये लाहौर की कंपनी, लोकल कंपनी है। ये एक यूटी लाहौर के प्रोफेसर है मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग के, उन्होंने कंपनी बनाई हुई है अपनी। और ये जो है, ये कंपनी बेसिकली इंडस्ट्री को कंसल्टेंसी देती है वाइब्रेशन एनालिसिस की। और इनकी जो एक टाइम की जो विजिट फीस होती है, जो अगर अगर फॉर एग्जांपल वो ये कहते हैं कि हमारे प्लांट पे रोटरी मशीनरी या पंप या कंप्रेसर में फॉल्ट आ गया और आप आके चेक करें, तो वो एक एक विजिट के 1 लाख से 1.5 लाख रुपए सिर्फ विजिट के लेते हैं, और फॉल्ट डायग्नोज करने के सेपरेट चार्जेस होते हैं। वो इसलिए कि ये फील्ड इतनी स्पेशलाइज्ड है कि जिसको इस फील्ड की समझ है वही कर सकता है, जिसको समझ नहीं है तो वो नहीं कर सकता। ठीक है, वो तो बहुत हाई लेवल का है, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग उस लेवल की हो जाएगी, वो तो खैर तकरीबन 8-10 साल की ट्रेनिंग से आता है। लेकिन वो चीज़ जो आपने 7 डेढ़ लगा के, अगर आपको कभी इंटरेक्शन हुआ इंडस्ट्री में इस फील्ड के साथ, जो आपने 7 डेढ़ लगा के सीखनी है, वो इंशाल्लाह उतना पार्ट मैं आपको इस कोर्स में ही समझा दूंगा, कि आपने जो उधर लर्निंग करनी है वो आपको इस कोर्स में ही उसकी लर्निंग हो जाएगी। इसलिए इस कोर्स को आपने स्टेप बाय स्टेप अच्छे तरीके से समझना है। अब अगर आपके दिमाग में ये सवाल भी आ रहा है कि वो तो कुछ और होगा और जो अभी हम थ्योरेटिकल पढ़ेंगे वो कुछ और होगा, ये बहुत क्लोजली लिंक्ड है आपस में। एक बात दिमाग में बिठा लें, कोई भी प्रैक्टिकल चीज थ्योरेटिकल के बगैर नहीं होती। हमारे मुल्क में अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये पार्ट कम इसलिए आपको नजर आता है क्योंकि हम बहुत सारे सिस्टम्स इंपोर्ट करते हैं बाहर से। ठीक है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपको प्लांट चाहिए, आपको फर्टिलाइजर प्लांट चाहिए, आप बाहर से परचेज कर लेंगे, तो डिजाइनिंग किधर गई। आपको सीमेंट प्लांट चाहिए, आप बनवा लेंगे, परचेज कर लेंगे, आधे पार्ट्स बाहर से खरीद लेंगे, तो डिजाइनिंग कहाँ गई। तो डिजाइनिंग तो कहीं कहीं रह ही नहीं गई, क्योंकि जो आपने डिजाइन पढ़ना है और अब पढ़ेंगे भी आगे से, तो वो किधर जाएगा, क्योंकि आप डिजाइन नहीं कर रहे। अनफॉर्चुनेट है, लेकिन बहरहाल फ्यूचर में हो सकता है हम इस करने काबिल हो भी जाए कि हम मतलब खुद डिजाइन करें बैठ के। यहाँ पे प्लांट्स कुछ होते हैं भी, ऐसा शुगर प्लांट पाकिस्तान में डिजाइन होता है, लेकिन शुगर प्लांट की कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इतनी नहीं होती। लेकिन अगर आप सीमेंट प्लांट की बात करें या फर्टिलाइजर प्लांट की बात करें, ये जो कॉम्प्लेक्स और जो ऑयल रिग्स वगैरह होती हैं, ये सारी बाहर से इम्पोर्ट होती हैं। इसलिए इनको बनाने में डिजाइन इन्वॉल्व होता है, और अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम उसमें है नहीं। तो इसलिए जो है वो ये थोड़ा सा हमें ये फेस करना पड़ता है। लेकिन ये वो फील्ड है वाइब्रेशन की जो हर इंडस्ट्री यूज करती है। मत जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि और भी अगर आप नेट पर सर्च करेंगे ना, वाइब्रेशन एनालिसिस कंसल्टेंसी या कंसल्टेंट्स लिखेंगे पाकिस्तान के अंदर, तो तकरीबन इस टाइम कोई 100 के करीब कंपनीज हैं जो पाकिस्तान में ऑपरेट कर रही हैं, जो कि ये सर्विसेज इंडस्ट्री को देती हैं। अच्छा, ये तो मेरा ख्याल है हम यहीं पे इसको एंड करते हैं इस स्लाइड तक, और आगे अभी नहीं जाते।
सर
जी
बता दें कि
जी
आप असाइनमेंट्स और क्विजेस लेंगे वो ज्यादा
जी।
क्या चाहते हैं कि आप इन 3 वीक्स के अंदर मतलब गूगल क्लासरूम पे लेंगे या फिर जब हम फिजिकली आ जाते हैं 5 अक्टूबर के बाद
नहीं,
तब?
मेरा मेरा प्लान ये है कि आपकी असाइनमेंट और क्विज इस ऑनलाइन सेशन में तो नहीं होंगी, वो 3 वीक्स के बाद ही होंगी। ठीक है, अभी मेरी कोशिश ये होगी कि आपको जितना स्लो में रखूं उतना पॉसिबल है, ताकि आपको समझ आ जाए, क्योंकि अभी मैं तो ये चाह रहा था कि आप फर्स्ट से ऑनलाइन हो, यानी कि फर्स्ट से फिजिकली आ जाए फर्स्ट वीक से ही। लेकिन चूंकि हमको पता है गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी ऐसी नहीं है, तो अभी मैं बिल्कुल स्लो चलूंगा, इसलिए कि आपको एक बात समझ आती है साथ साथ। और क्विज और असाइनमेंट जब हम फिजिकली आएंगे तब उसकी बात करेंगे। ऑनलाइन क्विज कोई भी नहीं होगा, तो उसको आप वो मतलब वो ऑप्शन कंसिडर ना करें। अभी हमें सिर्फ पढ़ना है, और इस 2-3 वीक्स में हम बेसिक्स को कवर करने की कोशिश करेंगे,
अच्छा ठीक है,
ताकि
थैंक
जब
यू।
हम 3 वीक के बाद आए तो हम थोड़ा सा फिर एक नेक्स्ट लेवल पे जाके हम काम शुरू कर पाए। ठीक है,
सर
और कोई बात? सो मेरा ख्याल है कि अभी हमारा फर्स्ट लेक्चर या हम इसको यहाँ पे एंड करते हैं, इस लेक्चर को। और अगर अगेन आखिर में किसी का कोई सवाल है, कोई कमेंट है, जिस तरह भी इन्होंने पूछा, कोई कंफ्यूजन है तो वो पूछ सकता है। ओके, ये बुक्स मैंने अपलोड कर दी हुई है, वो मेरा ख्याल है आप गूगल क्लासरूम पे देखिएगा, आपको मिल भी जाएगी। इसका लेसन प्लान भी अपलोड हुआ हुआ है। लेसन प्लान में भी आपके पास सारे ये CLOs वगैरह और डिस्क्रिप्शन, जो डिफरेंट हमने टॉपिक्स पढ़ने हैं उसके बारे में भी है, ये भी मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा आज। तो आपको ये भी अंदाजा हो जाएगा कि हमने क्या करना है। ये तो भी हमें ख्याल है हम 15 स्लाइड तक गए हैं, अभी तो आगे तकरीबन 25-30 स्लाइड्स हैं वो। ठीक है, हम नेक्स्ट पार्ट में कवर करेंगे। आपका जो नेक्स्ट लेक्चर है वो आई थिंक सो फ्राइडे को है, तो मेरा ख्याल है टाइम टेबल में तो शायद फ्राइडे को ही है, तो हम इंशाल्लाह यहीं से कंटिन्यू करेंगे फ्राइडे वाले दिन। और आप कोशिश करें सारे ग्रुप के वो ज़रूर ज्वाइन करें कोशिश करके, क्योंकि ये इम्पोर्टेंट है। हाँ, एक चीज़ आपको बता दूं कि आपकी अटेंडेंस इसकी भी होगी, और वो उसी तरह होगी जिस तरह मैं आपको वो गूगल फॉर्म शेयर कर दूंगा अटेंडेंस का, आपने वो अटेंडेंस मार्क कर देनी है अपनी। इस अभी मैं थोड़ी देर में आपको फॉर्म दे देता हूँ क्लासरूम में। आप काइंडली जल्दी से विद इन आज तक, बस आज का दिन ही होगा, आप कोशिश करें कि शाम तक या रात तक अपनी अटेंडेंस है वो मार्क कर दें, ताकि मुझे पता लग जाए कितने स्टूडेंट ग्रुप में आए हैं। क्योंकि ये ग्रुप में स्प्लिटेड है, इसलिए आपको भी आसानी होगी कि, और मुझे भी आसानी होगी, कम स्टूडेंट होंगे तो डिस्टर्बेंस कम से कम होती है ऑनलाइन क्लास में खास तौर पे। तो चूंकि अब ग्रुप में स्प्लिट हुए हैं, थोड़े थोड़े स्टूडेंट्स हैं, इसलिए आपका इंटरेक्शन सेशन भी हो सकता है और आप क्वेश्चन आंसर भी कर सकते हैं। आखिरी चीज मैं जरूर कहूंगा कि एक चीज ध्यान में रखें कि देखें, बात पे, मेरी बात पे एतबार करना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है। अगर आप मुझे कहीं सर तो ठीक ही पढ़ा रहे होंगे, तो आपका काम है कि आप जाके क्रॉस वेरीफाई करें कि मैं सही पढ़ा रहा हूं कि नहीं पढ़ा रहा। उसकी वजह यह है कि हमारी नेशन की आदत बन चुकी है कि हम अंधाधुंध किसी की बात पे एतबार कर लेते हैं। आपने एतबार नहीं करना, आपने जाके पढ़ना है और मेरी करेक्शन करनी है। अगर आपको ये लगे कि नहीं ये तो गलत हो रहा है, ये तो हमें कुछ और पढ़ाया जा रहा है और लिखा कुछ और हुआ, आपने करेक्ट करना है कि मुझे तो देखिए फलानी जगह पे ये नहीं मौजूद। आपने ये नहीं करना कि जी बस ठीक है पढ़ाया तो बस ठीक ही होगा, बस हमें क्या जरूरत है खोलने की। इससे आदत इंसान की बिगड़ जाती है, वो वेरीफाई नहीं करता। वेरीफाई करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। आप पढ़ें जाके, जो मैंने आपको बुक्स दी हैं इसका फर्स्ट 2 चैप्टर, जितना आपको टाइम मिले आप पढ़ें, देखें, नेट से इस कॉन्सेप्ट को देखें। जहां पे आपको फील होता है और कि कहीं गलती हो रही है, गलत जा रहा हूँ, वो जरूर मेंशन करें। और दूसरी बात, क्वेश्चंस लाजमी किया करें। क्वेश्चन नहीं करेंगे तो आपको वो चीज़ों की समझ नहीं आएगी। बीइंग अ टीचर, मेरे जहन में बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन है जो मैं आप तक पहुंचा नहीं सकता। क्यों? क्योंकि लेट्स से, अब फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने तकरीबन 9 साल इस फील्ड में डेडिकेटेडली काम किया। अब 9 साल का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो मैं तो आपको इतनी देर में शेयर तो नहीं कर सकता। ये मतलब मैंने कई जगहों पे इंडस्ट्री में गया भी हूँ, मैंने प्रोजेक्ट्स भी किए हैं, मैंने लैब में भी काम किया है, मैंने मैथमेटिकल मॉडलिंग भी की है, मैंने एक्सपेरिमेंटल काम भी किया है, लैब में किया है। लेकिन जब आप क्वेश्चन करेंगे तो हो सकता है कि मैं क्वेश्चन के नतीजे में आपको कुछ बता दूं, अदरवाइज शायद वो बात बताऊं ही ना आपको, क्योंकि जाहिर बात है मेरे पास भी टाइम लिमिटेड है। लेकिन जब आप क्वेश्चंस करेंगे, जब आप कहेंगे नहीं सर ये बात समझा दें, ये नहीं समझ आई, ये बता दें, ये आपने कोई चीज पढ़ी होगी, आप उसके बारे में पूछना चाहेंगे, तो उससे बाकियों का इल्म बेहतर होगा, आपका इल्म बेहतर होगा। तो अपने अंदर एक चीज पैदा करें जरूर कि सवाल जरूर पूछा करें। अपने अंदर आदत बना लें, मैक्सिमम कोशिश करें कि आप कोई ना कोई सवाल, जरूर नहीं है सवाल हर टाइम ही हो, लेकिन बिल्कुल ब्लैंक नहीं बैठना। और सवाल कब पैदा होगा? जब आप लेक्चर को क्रिटिकली देखेंगे, जब आप लेक्चर को क्रॉस वेरीफाई करेंगे, जब आप इस लेक्चर के साथ किसी और बुक को स्टडी करेंगे। मैं आपको नहीं कहता कि आप मतलब इंटेंसली स्टडी करें बहुत गहराई के साथ। आप जब किताब खोल के देखेंगे तो आपको बहुत सारी बातें नई भी मिलेंगी जो मैंने शायद नहीं बताई। तो आप मुझसे पूछेंगे सर मैं फलानी किताब पढ़ा था उसमें तो ये लिखा हुआ था, या फलानी बुक पढ़ा था उसमें ये लिखा हुआ था, तो मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन करूंगा कि हाँ ये होता है। तो तब जाके आपके कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर होंगे। इस तरह मेरे पास बड़ा लिमिटेड टाइम है, मैं बड़े लिमिटेड टाइम में कोशिश करूंगा मैं अपनी तरफ से जितना आपको दे सकता हूँ मैं दूं, लेकिन फिर भी एज ए ह्यूमन मेरे पास टाइम एक लिमिटेड टाइम है। आपका इंटरेक्शन टाइम भी बहुत कम है, वो 16 वीक्स है टोटल। तो 16 वीक का कोर्स नहीं है ये, तो कोर्स अगर आप करें तो ये कोई 100 या 200 वीक्स का कोर्स है पूरा, अगर आप सही तरह इसको इन डेप्थ जाएं तो जाहिर पता मैं कुछ चीजें छोड़ दूंगा या कुछ चीजें मेरे दिमाग में नहीं आएंगी, लेकिन जब आप क्वेश्चंस करेंगे तो उसकी वजह से हो सकता है कुछ चीजें मेरे दिमाग में और मैं आपको बताऊं। तो क्वेश्चंस करने की अपने अंदर पैदा करें और डालें। बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट दे आर वेरी एक्टिव और मुझे, लेकिन मोस्टली सवाल नहीं करते। तो सवाल करना सीखें और सवाल करें, ठीक है? ओके, सो हम लेक्चर को जो है वो यहाँ पे एंड करते हैं। इंशाल्लाह जो है वो नेक्स्ट जब भी आपका लेक्चर होगा तो हम जो है वो इंशाल्लाह कंटिन्यू करेंगे इसको। ओके, थैंक यू। एनी लास्ट कमेंट फ्रॉम एनीवन? ओके, एक आखिरी चीज मेरे जितने स्टूडेंट, ये लेक्चर जो है वो मैंने रिकॉर्ड करा था। अगर आप चाहते हैं तो मुझे बता दीजिएगा, ये रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर भी आपको मिल सकता है। मतलब जो ये वीडियो के फॉर्म में रिकॉर्ड होगा, क्योंकि मैंने इसके सेशन को रिकॉर्डिंग भी लगाया हुआ था। तो अगर आप चाहेंगे तो मैं इसका ना लेक्चर का लिंक आपको दे दूंगा, यूट्यूब पे अपलोड कर दूंगा या गूगल ड्राइव पे कर दूंगा, तो आपको इसका लिंक मिल जाएगा ताकि कभी आपको दोबारा भी प्रॉब्लम हो तो आप सुन सकें।
सर काइंडली
ये
आप
सर
यूट्यूब
क्लास
पे
पे
कर
फिर
दें,
अपलोड कर।
यूट्यूब
जी?
पे कर दें तो वो मतलब इजी रहेगा, या क्लास में?
वो ड्राइव पे मुश्किल होती है।
यस सर, मतलब
जैसे मर्जी
या
है सर,
क्लास
बस
या
लिंक
YouTube।
दे दें।
ठीक है, यूट्यूब पे कर दूंगा, नो प्रॉब्लम। यूट्यूब पे लिंक शेयर हो
शुक्रिया।
जाए। ये तो यूट्यूब ऐसे लिंक इसलिए भी नहीं चाहता था कि ये सेशन ना, मतलब ये तो वो उसकी वो लिंक है, क्या कहते हैं, मतलब ये इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग है स्क्रीन की। तो एक तो लेक्चर डेडिकेट सेपरेटली हो, लेकिन किया जा सकता है, मैं यूट्यूब पे भी कर सकता हूँ, ड्राइव पे भी कर सकता हूँ। तो अगर आपको इजी होगा, मैं अभी नहीं करूंगा, नेक्स्ट टाइम देखूंगा, अगर इजी होगा तो यूट्यूब पे भी कर दूंगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ऐसा। ठीक है?
ओके सर।
Okay, well, I think so. Thank you very much for joining the first lecture. I hope you learned something and enjoy it. Okay, thank you very much from my side. Allah Hafiz.
चलो भाई आ जाओ अपनी मीटिंग पे।
हाँ जी,
जी जनाब।
उन्हीं में करे से हैं।